Alright, so biology seems to be a really big problem with ninth graders in the girls section. I'm not sure about the guys section, but basically biology is the you have to memorize everything lesson. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna make everything easier. I'm gonna write some notes on the little board I have right here, and hopefully you'd copy them and make use of them. So in the biology we have lesson 23.3, which is plant responses. It basically speaks about what, or it tells about what plants or how plants respond to their environment. There are three major responses, and we have to explain what a hormone is and what kind of hormones we have. And it's not a long lesson, but you have a lot to memorize and stuff like that. But hopefully, this would make stuff much easier for you guys to to understand, and later you can do. Alright, so let's step right into our lesson. We have a few words to say the meaning of first, and there are two more words I will be explaining later as we move on with the lesson. The first word, which is hormone. Hormone is basically a chemical that is produced in one part of an organism and transported to other plants, causing physiological changes. This is the meaning we have in the book. The meaning I'll tell you is that it's something, okay, let's say we have a chemical, alright? And this chemical, we want it to help the rest of our organism, or in our case, a plant. We want this hormone or chemical, for example, we want it to make the plant grow faster. So what it does physiological changes. It means change in physical shape. Makes it taller, makes it wider, makes it look stuff, like physical stuff. What we all know, which is considered physical. When we have physiological changes done by a chemical, the chemical is called a hormone. So let's write the meaning of is an auxin. An auxin, as I said, is a kind of hormone. But what an auxin is, it's a type of hormone that, each hormone has a different function. The function of an auxin is to make the plant grow taller, among many other functions we have. So let me erase all the other things that I have in the board. We might feel these words maybe too big, or maybe gibberish or something, but when you get to know their meanings, they're really easy to memorize and really easy to understand. So I'm just gonna use another color here. I'm gonna write the meaning, what auxin actually does. So let me erase auxin and write it in a different color. What does it do? Number one, what it does, it promotes cell elongation. What that means is that it makes the plant, it alerts the plant hello, we have to get longer now. We have to stop everything else and get longer. Like how teenagers go through puberty. Yes, I said it, puberty. It's when our body stops everything else and just focuses on getting mature and getting older and taller and stuff like that, instead of doing everything else. That is why until we reach maturity, we can't do certain stuff that we all know that will happen later on. What our body focuses on until we reach the point of puberty is getting taller, getting bigger, getting fatter, changing our shape, changing how we look like. Because as soon as you hit puberty, you just don't change. You stop changing. You might get taller a bit. You especially for guys, you get taller a lot, but we might get taller, but our shape won't change. The shape of our face, the shape of, for example, the size of many things. For example, the size of our the face size, the size of our feet won't change. That's it. That's where we just stop growing. So what the auxin does, let's imagine it in a plant. It goes to the cells hello, stop doing everything else and start growing. What it does is for example, let's say this is a cell, and the auxin comes hello. This is the auxin. What it does is like, let's get taller. So what it does, it makes the plant cell stretch. When it stretches, the stem eventually stretches. Like when we have a little plant like this, and let's say we have a leaf right here. This cell is in this little plant. When it like promotes it or alerts it to get taller, what happens is that this plant gets bigger, because it's not only one cell, it's all cells. It promotes all cells to get longer. So the next point, which is a bit harder, is the IAA. What the IAA is, I am not sure of the correct spelling. It is, you say it, endolysitic acid. So the endolysitic acid, what it does, it's basically a kind of hormone. So it's a type, IAA is a type of auxin, and auxin is a type of hormone. So look, a hormone is not inside auxin, and auxin is not inside the hormone. These are just types. When you say, for example, a pencil, there can be a mechanical pencil, an HB pencil, a number 2 pencil. These are just types of pencils. You won't find these all in one pencil. These, IAA is an auxin. It's not inside auxin. It is an auxin, and auxin is a hormone. So what the IAA does, it's produced in the apical meristem of plant stems. For example, we have a stem right here, and you have the apical meristem right here. Where the IAA is produced, it's produced up here. There is apical meristem in the roots, but we don't want that, because later on we know that auxins are produced in the stem so they can get more sunlight. So when it's produced in the apical meristem of the stem, at the tip, what happens is that it's like spread out throughout the whole plant, okay, and it gets to the leaves, and it just makes everything longer. Yani, if this is the plant becomes like this, big roots, big stem, big leaves, everything becomes bigger and longer until you cut off the tip of the stem. And cutting off the tip of the stem is like another case which I will explain. So we're going to write the meaning of IAA right here. So it is what we were saying is that we have these cells that are tightly packed together, and what keeps them together, like rather than floating away in our big plant, is the auxin, or the IAA, comes and, didn't we say, weakens the connection between cellulose fibers? These are the cellulose fibers. So the IAA comes and it like breaks those like this. And what happens is that they become longer and farther apart. When they become farther apart, it allows them to separate or to grow a bit freer. Alright? So we said that these are the cellulose fibers. These are the cellulose fibers right here. Okay? And what happens is the IAA comes and breaks them. So the IAA, which is right here, the squiggly line, comes and breaks those cellulose fibers, allowing those cells to get bigger and taller. They don't break into half or anything. They just get taller. Now, after the IAA, so this is like basically everything about IAA, and that it occurs in the apical meristem of the plant stems. So we're going to write that. Let's erase this. another point about the IAA. So look, these arrows are the points about the IAA. These are the points about the auxin. So just keep that in mind. Now the IAA, where is it found? In the stem, not in the roots. Please keep that in mind so you don't make that mistake while you're solving. Please be sure that it's in the stem, not in the roots or in the leaves, just in the stem. Now, what we have next is that we have a combination of new cells from the apical meristem, and increasing cell length leads to stem growth. As I said earlier, that look, I'm just reading off the book and I explain whatever is in the book because we don't have anything extra. In case you have any questions, please keep them in the comments below. So let's continue. When we have like the new cells that are usually made in the apical meristem, the combination of those and the ones of and the ones that are like getting taller, they make the cell elongation right here, which makes the stem really very much bigger. Now, which is like stem growth. The auxin, okay, they aren't transported through the vascular system. Now, let's just continue writing about the auxins. Now, this is just a new point about auxins, all right, not about IAA. So, told you, when a cell is like this, it makes it bigger, much bigger, like this. Okay. Okay, what we were saying is that it makes the cells much bigger. And now I have to explain what active and passive transport are. I'm not going to explain it like in very much detail. All you have to know is that the auxins don't move through the vascular tissue, they just move by active transport. I'm just going to give you a background. Active transport is when something moves from a low concentration to a higher concentration of something. That's basically all you have to know about active transport, and that auxins move by it. So, more notes about the auxins and get to the gibberellins and the cytokinins and then the ethylene gas. And after that, we have other types of hormones. Alright? See you in a bit. Now, you know how sometimes when you look at a plant and you see it has so many side branches that you feel the plant isn't actually growing in height? There's a type of tree called a weeping willow tree. It has a really small amount of auxins. Let me show you how it looks like. You'll see it in a picture to your top right. So the weeping willow tree, it's like really big and it has so many branches everywhere to the extent that it's almost bending to the ground like a weeping lady. So that plant doesn't have enough auxins. What do auxins have to do with that? Auxins actually inhibit the growth of side branches. Side branches are when you have a plant, and you can look at that on page 622 of your book. I will be posting a picture of that later in the video. So page 622 of the book, you have a little diagram right there. If you look at like picture number A, or like letter A, you see that there is the shoot tip where the auxins are produced. I told you they're produced in the apical meristem of the stem right at the top. So and you have like small buds, but they're not growing at all. When it was removed, which is showed in diagram number B, the buds started to grow on the sides. So that's not good for a plant, because a plant needs to grow in height first, then it can grow buds and make fruits and stuff. But that was basically one of the other main functions of the auxins. So let's write that. The next point is that it delays fruit formation. As I told you, that humans are not allowed to, or like, not allowed, but aren't physically ready for reproducing until a certain age. That's exactly the same thing in plants. It delays fruit formation because the plant isn't physically ready to have any fruits yet. So we're gonna write the next point that it delays. The last point in auxins is that it inhibits fruits from dropping too early. You know how you have fruits and they're sometimes green and stuff like that, and the plant might need the fruit for example, nutrition or something, even though it may not be as common, but it stops the fruit from dropping too early so that the whole plant doesn't come crashing down, because a fruit usually hangs on a thread, not literally, but let's say this is a branch and this is an apple, okay? Just imagine it to be an apple. This little branch right here, it's really weak. So what happens is that the auxins come and they go like, stop, don't fall. It stops it from falling until the branch becomes stronger and this larger branch becomes even like it's uh it's ready to hold the weight of the really heavy fruit until it drops, alright? So we're going to write this last point about auxins. So we close up on auxins and we go to the next point. The next point we have is gibberellins. Gibberellins are another type of hormone. They're not a type of auxin, they're a type of hormone. So let's write gibberellins right here. So get your color. Or you know what, this color, right here. Is that how you spell it? Yep. Now gibberellins are almost exactly the same as auxins. So most of the things that are found in auxins are found in gibberellins, except for example for the IAA, and there are a few differences that I'm going to write right now. So the first thing is that it stimulates cell elongation, same thing as auxins, and they're transported in the vascular tissue, which is in the xylem and the phloem. Unlike the auxins, which I have already mentioned, are they're transported by active transport. The gibberellins are transported in the vascular tissue. They go through the tubes, which are the xylem and the phloem of the vascular tissue. And next we have that they increase the rate of seed germination and bud development. Now the gibberellins are the complete opposite of auxins in almost three things. That the auxins inhibit the growth of side buds, but the gibberellins, they increase the rate of side buds. The gibberellins are produced after the plant is mature. So you know how after we mature, we get to do stuff and we have more hormones than we were kids. Gibberellins is the same thing. After auxins are produced, they just suddenly stop being produced, and gibberellins are produced instead. They are produced in the same place, which is the apical meristem at the tip of the stem. So we're going to write down the points. There are only 3 points for gibberellins because almost everything else is the same. Not everything else, but please be sure to read the book. And if you have any inquiries, I am ready to answer anything. That will be page 623 of your books, the part that says gibberellins promote growth. It is obviously a very small part. That's the very small part is basically the whole thing about gibberellins, all the information we are supposed to know. And when you have a dwarf plant or a plant that is really small, what farmers do is that they insert shots of gibberellins to the dwarf plant. When they insert the shots of gibberellins to the dwarf plant, what happens is that, for example, the plant suddenly starts growing bigger and starts producing more buds. You have that in figure 23.23. it says the bean plants in this picture are genetic dwarfs. The two plants on the right were treated with gibberellin and have grown to a normal height. You can see the small little plants on the left side. They are really small because they're like genetically dwarf plants. That's how God created them. But the farmers want them to grow bigger, for example, for an experiment or something. So what they do is that they inject them with gibberellins, which are like the two on the right side. Those are the ones that were injected with gibberellins. So the first point for gibberellins is that they also stimulate. So that was the last information you should know about gibberellins. And now we move on to the next point, which is the cytokinins. Now we move on to the cytokinins, which is the next point. As you see in your book, if you have it open already, on page 623, we have a little paragraph about cytokinins because they don't do much. Now, what are cytokinins? Cytokinins are another type of hormone, not a type of gibberellins or auxins. They're a type of hormone. So, what cytokinins do, okay, is that they stimulate mitosis and cell division. What else they do is that they come and they call proteins. It's like, come on, let's go and like start the mitosis and cell division. So there are proteins, special proteins that are used for mitosis and cell division, and the cytokinins come and call those proteins over to come and do the mitosis and cell division. What else they do is that they're produced in the root meristem, unlike the gibberellins and the auxins. The cytokinins are produced in the roots and they go up to the shoots and to every other part of the plant. And they go up the xylem to other parts, as I said. They don't go up the phloem, but they go up the xylem. And the effects are often enhanced by other hormones. So you have those cytokinins, and they have effects. There's certain effects that they do mitosis and cell division. Like, they don't work unless there is help of another hormone. Like, for example, let's say you are in a job and you need a secretary. When you do your job alone, it's really hard for you. But when you have a secretary, your job is done better. So enhanced means better. So let's write those notes. Now we have the next point, which is the ethylene gas. I'm just going to explain it first, then we're going to write the notes, and I'm going to explain the notes that we have. Now, what is ethylene gas? You know when you have a banana, like a ripe banana, and you have a bunch of other green bananas, what do you do to make the green bananas riper? If you haven't done that yet, try to do it. When you have a ripe banana, that ripe banana releases a gas. What the gas does is that it makes the fruits ripe faster. Ripe means getting better in taste, smell, softness, taste, smell, softness, and that's it. Taste, smell, touch, and color. So it enhances the things that you see or taste and smell in a plant. Have you ever tasted a green banana? It tastes bitter and it's tough to bite on and it's very tough to peel off. So when ethylene gas is, or ethylene, when ethylene gas is released by a ripe banana. The raw banana or the unripe or green banana takes all that ethylene gas and uses it to to ripen. It uses it to become green and to taste sweet and stuff like that. So that's basically what it does. And it's produced mainly in the fruits. It may be produced in stems or leaves, but that is a bit rare. And it's released during ripening. And how does it make the banana softer? It's that it weakens the cell wall of the cover, or what do you call it, the peel of a banana. Like you have a banana peel. When you peel the banana when it's green, it's really tough. When it's yellow, it's actually much easier. That is why you can peel it a lot faster. And it speeds up the ripening. If you keep a green banana outside just to ripen on its own, it's going to take a lot of time. 3 days tops, I guess, from my experience with bananas. But if you put a yellow banana with them, they're going to get ripened in almost overnight. And what it does is that it breaks down the complex carbohydrates to simple sugars. Remember when you have taken in chemistry that carbohydrates are basically a big huge combination of sugars. So what happens is that the ethylene gas comes and it breaks down these carbohydrates to simple sugars. That's why a banana tastes sweeter when it is yellow rather than when it's green. So let's start writing. And I think it's almost the only hormone that's a gas. All the other hormones we took are, I think, liquids or solids, but the ethylene gas is a gas. So the notes about the which is after the fruit matures, alright? When a fruit matures, it's fully grown. When it ripens, it starts producing a nice smell, different taste. I don't know, try to taste ripe and unripe fruits. You'll see a really big difference. Some are softer and taste much better than the unripe fruits. And now this is everything you need to know about the ethylene gas. Now, the next point we have is a bit more difficult, so if you want you can rewind the video and see whatever I explained again. So we can move on to the next point, which is tropism. Now, when you go to school in the morning, early in the morning, do you ever see a flower and you come back later, in the afternoon, and you see it? Why did it change its direction? Does someone come and bend it? Actually, no. A plant bends on its own to get enough sunlight, to get enough other resources. So the fact that it bends is called a tropism. Now let me give you the exact meaning. A tropism is a plant's response to an external stimulus. A stimulus means a reason or something that makes it react. The reaction is called tropism. Now, let's write that. Now, there are 3 different types of stimuli, which is the plural form of stimulus. Now, let me write that. Number 1, you have light. 2 gravity, and 3 touch. Now, I'll give you the 3 different names of tropisms according to each stimulus. For example, light, the tropism according to light, the reaction according to light is called a phototropism. Reaction due to gravity is called a gravitropism. Reaction due to touch is called thigmotropism. Now, let's write those down. For light, it is phototropism. For gravity, it's gravitropism. And for touch, it's thigmotropism. Okay, I will be explaining each one in further more detail. There isn't much to explain. Each one has a few points. For example, the gravitropism or geotropism has 2 names, but I'm just going to be using gravitropism because that's what's available in the book. And the phototropism and the thigmotropism. I'll be writing those right now, so make a line. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick meaning of each one, just verbally. Phototropism is a tropism due to light, so it's a response because of light. Gravitropism is a response due to gravity, because of gravity. Thigmotropism is response due to touch or because of touch. Now, what does gravitropism mean? It means it is the plant's response due to gravity. Okay. And sorry for the terrible handwriting. Now, tropisms can either be positive or negative. So I'm just going to come right here and write it. So they can either be positive or negative. When it's positive is when the plant responds in the direction of the stimulus itself. So when we have the stimulus pulling the plant down, what grows down? The roots. The roots grow to the bottom, right? So the fact that the roots grow to the bottom means that they are responding positively, which is basically a good thing for the plant. Now, wait, let me just adjust my camera. Okay. When something responds negatively, it's because it's not doing what you want it to do. So when that happens, that is called a negative tropism, negative response, because it's not doing what you want it to do. So hope you wrote that down. If you didn't, please make sure you do. So now we have to write that when it's positive, what happens, and when it is negative, what happens. I'm going to be erasing everything on the top. Okay, so when it is positive, roots grow toward the Let me draw a little diagram for you. Let's say this is the soil. Where is gravity pulling? The answer is down, because we already all know that. Gravity is pulling down. Where are the roots growing? The roots are growing down. Now, gravity always pulls down, but the stem grows up toward the sun. So these are the roots. This is for the roots. For the stem, they grow up. So when they grow up, it's negative because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. What they're supposed to do is that they are supposed to move toward gravity. They're just like basically not listening to what they're supposed to do, okay? Which most of us actually do. So let's erase my little diagram. And write that when it's negative, the stem grows up. When the stem grows up, it is negative. Now, the gravity tropism, why is it there? It's there because gravity pulls roots so it can anchor the plant to the soil. So, gravity pulls roots to anchor. Anchor means keep or hold it there. The plant to soil. Alright, now next we have the phototropism. Or wait, we have one more thing. Due to gravitropism, a plant gets more water. Okay. Now, next point. How does a plant make food? The answer is basically photosynthesis. Where does it get the energy it needs so it can perform photosynthesis? It gets it from the sun, what we all know. So when there's a sun, when the sun is actually there, the plant moves towards it so it can get more energy so it can perform more photosynthesis. So how does phototropism work? Now I really need you to concentrate with me on this. Now I'm going to read from here, from the book, and I want you to concentrate. Some plants exhibit another tropism called thigmotropism. Oh wait, not thigmo, I'm sorry. The growth of a plant toward light is called phototropism. You will find that in tropic responses in plants. In the second paragraph, the first thing it says, the growth of a plant toward light is called phototropism. It is caused by an unequal distribution of oxygen in the plant's stem. There is more oxygen on the side of the stem away from the light. This results in cell elongation. Now, I want you to look at the plant you have in page 624 in diagram A. You can see that you have some dots of the red dots are the oxygen. So when you have a higher distribution of oxygen, didn't we say that oxygen elongates cells? So the cells that are elongated form a little arc shape, and the ones that are not, the ones that are away from the sun, are like they're not getting enough sun, so the oxygen doesn't function in the first place. When it doesn't function, those plants stay little. You know how when you let a paper stand on something that's not so firm, the paper doesn't actually stand. Let me show you with an example. I have a paper right here, right? Look at it. Paper. Now I'm holding it firm with my bigger hand. The hand is bigger than the paper, let's say it's stronger. But when I hold it with one finger, what happens is that the plant bends. Can you see my little finger right there? The plant bends. It bends the bigger side, which isn't my finger. Let's say all of this, the paper and my finger, are the stem. The part that's bended is the longer part. The longer part is heavier. And the shorter part is small because it's not getting enough sun. As you can see, it's away from the light. It's like in a shadow. It's small because it's not getting enough light, so it bends. When it bends, the plant bends too. That's why you see that the plant is actually turning toward the sun. So let's write the information about phototropism. It is the growth of a plant in response to light. Why is there phototropism? The importance of phototropism is that it enables the leaves to be in the best position to receive enough light for photosynthesis. Now, I'm just going to write that. It enables leaves to be in the best position for photosynthesis. There is some information that I will write down, but the part that I'm going to write down is going to be really summarized, and I do 100% support reading the book. If you just study my notes, I don't think that would be enough. I think you need to look at the diagrams you have in the book. If you don't have them, I will be posting them in my video across the left and right side of the video on the top. Like during time intervals, not at all times, because you won't need them at all times. So when I actually tell you to look at the top right or top left, they're probably there to help you if you forgot your book or you don't have your book or for any other reason. So, or just to tell you that I'm signaling on that part of the book. Now, we have that what happens is the longer Now we will be doing thigmotropism. Now we have the response of a plant due to thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is response due to touch. Now the next thing you should know about thigmotropism is that, for example, when you look at a vine, the vine you have, for example, some people own vines in their house, the same way I do, or like when you see them in pictures, they move around whatever there is. For example, you have a grapevine. I think a lot of people may have seen that. The grapevine twists toward anything that is near to it. So it's almost like the nervous system for humans, except it's a thigmotropism. So it's response due to touch. So look, since all tropisms are due to growth, يعني what like the tropisms are just they're because the plant wants to grow. Thigmotropism makes the plant grow around whatever is near to it. The gravitropism makes the plant grow down to the earth so it can collect as much water as it can. And phototropism makes a plant grow toward the sun so it can produce more, so it can like make more photosynthesis. So they can't be reversed. Like since you've grown taller, can you make yourself grow shorter? No, you can't. You can't just like go like my body, let's grow shorter. You won't grow shorter. You're just gonna keep on getting taller, and then you're just gonna stop. The way you won't ever see a vine suddenly becoming shorter unless you actually cut it off. So they can never ever be changed. So for example, look, let me tell you, when the sun moves, don't you see the plant bending to other sides? You won't actually see it. You will see it in almost intervals. If you look at the time, you will see, for example, at 2 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd see the sun, for example, right in the middle, and the plant is straight up. At 5 o'clock, the sun is somewhere near sunset. So you would see the plant bending a bit more toward the sun. So when it bends, okay, it's just changing its position. If a plant was like at 5 o'clock and then it started growing to that side, and then suddenly it became in the morning where the sun is on the complete other side of the sky, what the plant would do was like continue growing, and then it will bend from there. The whole plant won't bend, only the top part. So if you have a plant, like let's say the plant is in a pot, okay, and the plant was to be growing like this, and the sun is right here. This is at afternoon, at late afternoon. When it's late afternoon, the plant would be growing like this. And then next morning, okay, the sun would be right here. It would have moved. So what would happen is the plant would continue growing like this until it becomes next morning. So it starts turning like this. I have witnessed it a lot in some of the plants we have at home. They would be growing to this side because we have windows on either side of the room. So they would be going to this side. Then later in the morning, we'd find that they've bended like on the other side of like how they were. They're not vines. They're just like normal plants, but they would have grown like this all through the day until the sun reaches here, and then next morning the sun would be on the other side toward the other window. So it would just like bend, continue growing like this, and it would bend to the other side, and then we'll continue like that. So our plant basically looks like this right now. I don't know if we'll continue doing that, but it basically looks like this right now, and we need supports for it to stay like that because it looks really nice. So I will write that all plant tropisms cannot be reversed. Okay. Now, I really want you to read the book because there's the example of the vine in the book right there. The next part we have is the nastic response in plants. Till now the teacher hasn't explained that, but I will be doing that now. If you didn't understand or if she didn't even explain it. So, start explaining the nastic response. So, all plant tropisms can't be reversed. Okay? Now, I really want you to read the book because there's the example of the vine in the book right there. The next part we have is the nastic response in plants. till now the teacher hasn't explained that, but I will be doing that now. If you didn't understand, or if she didn't even explain it. So, have you ever read about the Venus flytrap, or have you ever seen it? So a Venus flytrap, when you see, it's called a Venus flytrap because when any insect comes on it, it just suddenly like closes the plant and shuts it in. This happens with most carnivorous plants. There are plants that are carnivorous. They devour animals. I'm not sure human parts, but I think mostly animals. Small insects, basically. But you can see that on page 625, diagram B. There's the what's it called? The Venus flytrap right there. So what happens is that there are certain cells or hairs at the bottom of the plant that when a fly comes and it touches those hairs, it triggers the plant to suddenly close. There's a second example, the second example is another plant called the Mimosa pudica. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, that's what it says in the book. So a lot of people have seen that on Facebook or YouTube. I'm not sure if you have, but if you haven't, this plant, when touched, when the leaves are touched, there are certain cells that have a high water pressure. So when you touch them, the water pressure increases, so they start folding upon each other and becoming thinner. You can see that in diagram A in this small little picture. Now I'm going to be writing the meaning of the nastic response or nastic movement. It means a responsive movement. So for example, when you have the Mimosa pudica plant, if you touch it from the side, if you touch it from other side, if you touch it from the top, from the bottom, it will not change how it moves. It would move in the exact same way. Same thing as the Venus flytrap. Remember when we just said that that all tropical responses are due to the direction of the stimulus? They depend on the direction of the stimulus, but the nastic response does not. That is basically all you need to know in this lesson. I will be answering the few questions, the 6 questions at the end of the lesson, but I really want you to like concentrate with me. Define hormone, we already did that at the beginning of the video. If you haven't, please just see that. Compare and contrast tropic responses and nastic movement. I already told you that nastic response or nastic movement depends on the direction, and tropic responses do not depend on direction. Nastic responses can be reversed, but tropical or tropic responses cannot be reversed. So these, please write this down. They can be reversed. So the Venus flytrap, it doesn't stay closed forever. It opens back up. Same thing as the mimosa plant. It opens back up. The leaves turn back to normal, as in the big picture you have in page 625. Question number 3. Explain how a plant can bend towards sunlight. What term describes this response? So the term would be phototropism, and we already explained how they bend towards sunlight is because we have the elongated cells are heavier than the shorter cells, so it bends toward the sunlight. That's in page 624. You have the little diagram, and you have the really short paragraph about that. Question number 4. Name one plant hormone and describe how it functions. Of all the hormones that we have explained, which are 4 hormones, just name one. I will name the ethylene gas. The ethylene gas helps in the ripening of the fruit. It is released during a certain stage of maturation and speeds up the ripening of the fruit. All the answers for the questions that are here are there in my notes. I made sure to keep them there. Explain why gardeners often remove the stem tips of chrysanthemum plants during early summer. You know the chrysanthemum plants, you usually see the picture in your laptop. So you see how it has so many flowers? How it has so many flowers is because I told you earlier that if we remove the tip of the stem, more buds are produced. So the buds produce more of that flower shape, or like more buds means a bigger flower or a bigger plant. So they want a bigger plant, so they just remove the stem tip, which causes more side buds to be produced. Question number 6. One technique that has been used for years to ripen a fruit is to put a ripened banana in a paper bag with the unripe fruit. Infer what happens inside the bag. So I already used the banana example earlier, and I told you that a ripe banana or a ripe fruit is put with other unripe fruits in order to help the others ripen. Why does it ripen? Because it releases, yes, ethylene gas. When it releases ethylene gas, it speeds up the ripening process. I hope all this was enough for you guys to understand. Any questions would be welcome down below in the comment box, and any other things that you may need that I may have not mentioned would be in the description box below. Please be sure to read that. And like this video if any of this made sense, or most of it. And have fun studying for biology.